What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati. As always, I'm joined by the podcast dad himself, Choops. How we doing, bud?
Doing fantastic. It is that time. We're back to our regularly scheduled programming where we get to interview a actual real life wrestler. So don't let me talk too much. Let's get into it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Our guest this week is a fellow Ohioan who has competed for Absolute Intense Wrestling, Paradigm Pro, and this weekend can be seen at Rise Wrestling in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Please welcome Shaw Mason to the show. Shaw, how are you?
Guys, I'm loving it. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
We're good. Just feel like we're still coming down after a week of events with WrestleMania and everything, and just kind of getting back into the swing of things.
And we got the eclipse outside too. We're having a lot of crazy things happening here, but wrestling is beautiful, and that's why we're here, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So without further ado, let's get right on into it. Here at the Wrestling Junkies podcast, we look at wrestlers. They are superheroes. They are supervillains that clash. All of them have origin stories. So tell us a little bit about some of your earliest memories of pro wrestling.
Absolutely. I had what I think is basic cable. I'm not really quite sure. One Friday night, I remember turning on SmackDown and I stumbled across it, and it was like Finley, Boogeyman skit. Booker T kind of played a role into that somehow as well, and I'm just like, this is absolutely awesome. Made my way down the street, started playing the SmackDown vs. Raw video games, and I never looked back. I loved it 100%, and somehow I stumbled across this. I was wrestling in college. COVID happened. Our season was canceled, unfortunately. And I remember coming to a show, seeing Hornswoggle, and I was just like, AIW, like specifically, that's where I want to be. And I started training. My trainer, Dominic Guarini, Derek Dillinger, we'll talk about them later for sure, introduced me to the world of wrestling, at least from a performer standpoint. And I loved every moment, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew I was made for this, and I ran with it. Absolutely.
Nice. So growing up, who were some of your early, favorites, and how are they kind of influencing your style in the ring now?
Oh boy, Rey Mysterio honestly was my favorite, and Jeff Hardy, John Cena, the good guys, the guys that I like to get behind and cheer for. And I don't utilize a lot of their movesets too much, but I remember that's why I want to do it. I remember that when I see specifically kids at shows, that's like I remember being that kid, and for however much I can bring that same energy out of them and help them make memories and just keep loving wrestling, no matter what level I'm at. That's what I want to keep doing. Like, honestly, just very nostalgic when it comes to that kind of stuff. And people I actually like kind of mirror myself off of, I guess. Guys like Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, I try to, right? I guess it's not tit for tat on that, but those are guys that always come to my head when I try to like think of how I want to carry myself in the ring and stuff like that. So, those two specifically.
Nice. So you kind of alluded to it earlier. COVID happening derailed your wrestling season, and you come across a IW, Dominic Guarini. It feels like this is essentially kind of your home base promotion, and we've had Dustin Alberti on the show as well and talked about kind of what makes AIW special to him. And we're going to ask you the same thing. What is it that drew you to this company, and why you are so fond of it today?
So when I first, initially at least, when I first started going there, it was the Odeon, and whether going there as a fan or as I was training, one thing was the aesthetic. The aesthetic was like, dude, like these venues like this exist. Like I was pretty young. Like I don't know. I didn't have many experiences going to different venues and stuff like this, and I just thought it was really cool, especially downtown Cleveland. I know you guys are Cincy boys, but Cleveland is a very beautiful place when you give it the time.
I agree. My wife's from Cleveland, so I have to say that.
Yeah, for sure. And the second thing would just be the people, like the people that they bring in, the fans that go there. It's a group of people that I don't want to speak too soon because the world's a beautiful place filled with a lot of people. but those people, it's a great support system there. The fans, the wrestlers, the trainers. It's an amazing place. And as you've seen, a lot of great names have come through. A lot of great names are there, and it's just a place where, like, wrestling is at a whole nother level, and that's what's expected. So naturally, a lot of amazing things are going to follow with that, and everybody has that mentality. I just want to do a quick shout out real quick because I know I'm going to forget like in like 20 minutes. There's this wrestler I debuted with. I'm sure you know his name, Sam Hardway Holloway. Put in the work. He's wrestled so many different places since debuting. And I don't know if you were able to see this weekend, WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre's entrance. He was actually a part of that entrance. I'm not sure if I'm even supposed to say that or not. Nice. But shout out to him. He has he's going places, and I'm just proud of him on that in that regard. But yeah, AIW, that story alone stands to the testament that I just said. It's a beautiful place where great wrestling happens. So
that's really cool.
About that.
Yeah, that's really cool. You mentioned passion to fans. We came across some art on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, of kind of your passionate fan base. What makes Shaw Mason fans so special?
That's a great question. I like having the genuine conversations with them. I like any chance I get going out in an entrance, whether it's a kid or just a fan I haven't seen before, putting a medal around them on my entrance, because some of my favorite wrestlers, like I mentioned, Rey Mysterio, always did the mask thing, or at least head-to-head, and that's just something that I wanted to do. It's just a little effort, a little money, and then you can make someone's whole show by they'll keep that forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with the adults, I just like to keep it real. I just like to talk to them and let them know what's up. Whether it's getting booed out in Pittsburgh for screaming OHIO or getting cheered in Cleveland, it's a brilliant thing to just, get a reaction out of them, get a genuine reaction. And I don't know. I just want to put a show on for them no matter what I do, wherever I go. So I don't know what makes Shaw Mason fans, for those out there. I mean, a lot of them are my family for now. But I don't know what makes them fans. I guess that's still a story in the making.
Well said. Well said. Well, somebody else that appeared to be a fan of yours from what we also saw on social media was WWE Hall of Famer, former SmackDown General Manager Teddy Long, holding up a Shaw Mason, I apologize, sign there. So tell us how this came about. Did you have a chance to speak with Teddy? And if you did, what wisdom did he impart on you? Holla.
So that picture specifically, I didn't orchestrate that. I didn't know that was happening. The kids, one of them there is we'll call it a family friend. And those are his little friends. They all came to the show. I thought it was really cool. And I did get a chance to speak to Teddy. Guys, and that's another testament to AIW and really other promotions around. That's just the world of wrestling. You meet so many amazing people and people that you had action figures of growing up. Like, to be able to talk to him, and just like this is the dude that always said Undertaker on Friday Night SmackDown. Like, this is him. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I'm living my dream, and I don't even think that I'm there yet. But like, these people I'm working with, and just to meet him, it was such an honor, and I'm gonna look forward to continue meeting people like that. And thank you again, AIW, for making all this possible. But yeah, to the words of wisdom, I can't even remember really what he said. I was so in awe that I was talking to him that I was just like, yeah, oh my goodness, I really hope you remember my name. You probably will not, but maybe one day we'll meet again.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So let's talk about this weekend. You're competing at Rise Wrestling. Tell us about the origins of the 27 Club.
Oh boy, I'll tell you what. When we go out to Pennsylvania, whether it's in Uniontown, Pittsburgh, whatever it is, we go there with the initiation. We want to piss people off, in a very awesome way. That's what wrestling's all about. And I just group of 3 guys that really like to work hard, and members only, and Dave Lawless. I think they do a damn good job at pissing people off. So when we go there, that's our intent. That's what our main goal is. The wrestling, our matches are going to speak for themselves. But how are we going to get underneath these people's skin when we go to Uniontown and when we go to Rise? And how that started was I got the call up. One of the group members formerly from 27 Club are still going. I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to orchestrate right now. All I know is that I got the call to fill in, at least for the time being, and I ran with that, and it's been a beautiful thing so far. I've successfully, up to this point, pissed off a great amount of people, even getting alcohol thrown at me from time to time. And Shawn Mason, it's usually I'm the face. I'm getting cheered. I'm putting the medals around kids' necks and entrances, and in Uniontown, I'm faking them out. I'm taking it back. I'm not putting it around their neck. I'm making kids cry, screaming at their mothers. It's great. It's a beautiful thing. So the 27 Club is just, we're bullies. We are bullies.
So tell us a little bit about this stipulation that we've got against the first generation here. It looks like you guys all receive title shots if you win this match, I'm hearing.
Listen, I know I was really humble at the beginning of this podcast, but I need to get into my my selfish, arrogant self. Speaking as if I'm in Pennsylvania right now, just thinking about those guys just get me heated. Winning titles at Rise it's inevitable. It's really inevitable for the four of us because we're just that talented, that damn good, as Kurt Angle would say. And we're gonna win. It doesn't really. I didn't even know there was a stipulation because I don't have any other plan in mind besides beating the living hell out of those other guys. So titles inevitable. I told people before, I love winning medals. I've done it my whole life. I want titles now. I want championships. Stack them up, get them in line. And I'm sorry if I went from humble to arrogant, but it just has to be that way.
Oh, you were so likable at the beginning. Now I'm terrified.
I'm sorry.
No, you should tell them. You should tell them. They should watch their P's and Q's.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you say that championships are inevitable. That's true. But so are all-time great rivalries. Who would you say have been some of your greatest or favorite rivals in your career, and what do you think makes each of them unique?
Some of my favorite have been earlier in my career. I wrestled the guy Cisco Silver. We gelled in the ring. We brought the intensity. We wanted to out wrestle one another, beat the shit out of beat the living hell out of one another each and every match. And we come from a similar background, same college, at least partly Notre Dame College. I went to John Carroll after that. But yeah, we were cut from the same cloth. Another guy that I don't want to compare us being cut from the same cloth is Tom Lawler. I'm sure you've heard of him once or twice. That guy is a monster. I've wrestled him a few times. He's beat the crap out of me a few times. But I also like tag teaming with the guy. I just like sharing the ring with him because I know if it's competing against him or wrestling on his team, it's going to be a damn good match. And I'd like to think that the fans would think so as well. Another guy that I have an ongoing rivalry with, it's bittersweet. And we're actually wrestling this Thursday in Lakewood, Ohio, at the Mercury Music Lounge for AIW, is Dominic Guarini. I told you he was my trainer, one of the two. And last show in Cleveland, Ohio, he turned on me. He turned his back on me. Haven't spoken to him since. We're gonna leave it all in the ring. I know it's he's got people in his corner. I got people in mine. I don't know how to feel about it because he's always been someone I looked up to. I don't think I ever made him proud or reach expectations of what he wanted. But come Thursday, I'm gonna give him everything that I got. He's taught me everything he knows, but there's still more that I got up my sleeve. So it's gonna be a war. And I think this is where I have to return to my humble self, and I really just got to prepare for this moment because one slip up and Dominic Guarini is no joke. I'm not ignorant to that fact. So that's what I got. I got to give it my all.
That's fair.
I mean, motivated and you're ready to go from what we can tell.
So the popularity of independent wrestling, I mean, I think it's going through a boom period right now. What would you say to people that aren't already watching, like why they should be watching independent wrestling currently?
It's a beautiful thing. It's you can get behind it. Uh, there's a lot of moving parts in pro wrestling that that people enjoy, and I just want to tell you a little bit about my backstory that kind of relates to this. I come from a family of amateur wrestling. So bringing family to this, my father, my uncles, they weren't sold. They weren't necessarily always behind this dream that I have of mine. And as they come more and more and more and more, they start to get behind me. They start to really invest into what's going on. And I don't think you have to be a hardcore wrestling fan to get invested into wrestling because it's a ride. It's like anything
Yeah.
else. It'll pull you in and you'll go up and down with it. And then you find yourself cheering. You find yourself booing. And people like that. People like the ride. So that's what wrestling is. That's why they should watch it. And there is a lot of great people. And there's a lot of people that you can boo and throw alcohol at if you so choose.
Yeah.
But I do not advise doing that.
No, I like drinking my alcohol too much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't waste it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
we've been talking all things Shaw Mason for about 17 minutes now. I know you've thrown a couple of names out there, but here's your chance to highlight some of those talents. As again, independent wrestling is in that boom period right now. Who are some other names that we should be on the lookout for? Whether it's Ohio, Pennsylvania, wherever you've traveled. Let's hear who we should be following.
Oh my goodness. If you give me 17 minutes to talk about myself, I could definitely talk 17 more about all the guys I come across. That's not even a fair question. Like, look at any card that I've ever been on, any show that I've ever been on. There's just a locker room full of talent. So I guess I'm just gonna have to be. I'm just gonna have to stick with the guys that I travel with to shout them out, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Those would be guys like Sam Hardaway Holloway. Those would be the guys, members only. Malcolm Cambridge and Calvin G. Lewis. Alex Melee, he's an up and comer. Zay Garcia, Sid Von England. That guy teaching me so much, and sometimes it's just things he says to me in the car. I'm gonna give so many names and forget so many more.
It's
Guys, check out that AIW roster. They are trained to become superstars, okay? And all my boys, guys, seeing this, I'm so sorry if I forgot your name. I'm thinking about you. They're amazing athletes, and we travel state to state, city to city, ready to rock and roll. You won't be disappointed checking them out.
Yeah, there's.
Awesome.
I think you guys are on Triller TV, if I'm not mistaken. You can find most AIW shows.
Yeah, sometimes Trailer TV. Sometimes you'll find us at other shows on IWTV, stuff like that. We're around. We make our ways. Yeah, and I want to say shout out Dom, but I can't really give him the nod right now. I'm bittersweet, so I'm gonna shout out Derek Dillinger. We've butt heads once or twice, but they did train us. They did train us to compete and teach us to be animals when we need to be. So head nod to them.
That's fair.
Well said.
That's fair. After you beat Dom, we can go check out the rest of his stuff.
Absolutely.
So that last question was hard, but now you're going to get the hardest question you've ever gotten in the history of pro wrestling.
Great.
We have a debate on this show. There's not a right answer, even though there is a right answer. When you think Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker?
That's it. Wow.
I told
Wow.
you.
When you said, I'll just be honest. When you said Mr. WrestleMania, I was already thinking Shawn Michaels. I'll just be honest. I will say, whenever you think of Undertaker at WrestleMania, there's a whole nother level of stakes risen. Like, his presence at WrestleMania is what wrestling is all about, is it not?
Yeah.
But I
Especially
think
last night.
exactly. And I think that he was the cherry on top of the sundae right there. He was there for a reason, put there in the exact same place that he needs to be. But you asked me the question, and I thought of Shawn Michaels. So I don't know by technicality if the Shawn Michaels wins the vote.
Yeah, see, they've conditioned everybody to think that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But I'm going Undertaker.
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah, put your
That's
hands
fair.
down.
All right. I will retract.
Yeah, put them back down.
Yeah. Shaw, thanks again for joining us, man. This was a great conversation. Before we let you go, where can everybody find you on social media?
Find me at social media, Instagram, Shaw Mason Wrestling. I think Twitter is just Shaw Mason _. Either way, I'm sure I'll pop up. Thank you guys for having me. Honestly, shout out the Exchange up there. Always got to shout out my boys and check out. Well, this will come out on Friday. So we got a big event coming up in AIW. I know we got a couple shows in between, but one comes to mind. May 24th, Kurt Angle's coming to Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
I want you guys to come up. I want the fans to come up. This is going to be big. We want to pack that place. Let's get 1,000 in the Masonic Temple Live, Cleveland. I think we could do it.
All right. It sounds like a hell of a challenge there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it does.
I like
Yes,
it. I like it. Well, yeah, thank you for joining us, and can't wait to have you back in the future. Give him hell this weekend.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, for Shawn Mason, for the podcast dad, I'm Mr. Cincinnati. This has been the Wrestling Junkies podcast, and we'll talk to you guys soon.